Tiny fixes for a tired life. 7 habits that make your life better. Stop starting your day with your phone. Let's get brutally honest. The first 5 minutes of your day are sacred, and what you do with them decides how the rest of your day unfolds. If the first thing you touch in the morning is your phone, you're already surrendering your mind to chaos. You're scrolling through other people's lives, other people's problems, other people's noise. And in doing so, you're sending a loud signal to your brain. My life is not as important as what's on this screen. But here's the truth, those minutes, they belong to you, to your mind, to your peace, to your intention. When you train yourself to start the day without digital distractions, you reclaim your authority over your time and your energy. You stop reacting and start responding. And that tiny shift, just leaving your phone alone, can literally change your mental health, your focus, your productivity, and your mood throughout the day, because when your mornings are hijacked by Instagram, by news alerts, by unread messages, your brain starts the day in survival mode. And when your brain is in survival mode, guess what happens? You feel exhausted by noon, anxious for no reason, and behind on everything. You want to fix your tired life. Put the phone down, reconnect with silence. Reconnect with your breath. Sit up in bed and set a real intention, not a to-do list, just a sense of how you want to show up today. Strong, calm, clear, unbothered. It sounds tiny, right? But this one habit creates ripple effects throughout your whole day. It's not about the phone, it's about control. And when you start controlling how you wake up, you start controlling your whole life. Make your bed. Even when you don't feel like it, you might think it's just a chore. You might think it's silly, but making your bed is a micro declaration that you are not giving up on today. It's not about the sheets, it's about the mindset. It's about doing something simple and completing it. In a tired life full of overwhelm, that small win is a massive reset. When you start your day by tidying even the tiniest corner of your world, your brain registers that as success. You've taken chaos and created order. You've taken apathy and turned it into action. That does something to your identity. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who shows up, someone who cares, and it's not about impressing anyone. No one even sees your bed. This is about you building self-respect, one tiny decision at a time, because a tired life often comes from feeling powerless. This is one place you do have power, so use it. Stack up those micro wins before the world even knows you're awake. Making your bed is the first domino. When you knock that down, the others start to fall. You drink more water, you put away your clothes, you handle that coal you've been avoiding. One act of self-discipline unlocks the next. Go for a walk. Even if it's just for 10 minutes, you don't need a gym. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need a trainer yelling in your ear. You just need to move. Your body was built to walk, and when you're exhausted, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, walking is the medicine you've been ignoring. Get outside. No headphones, no agenda, just walk. Let your thoughts wander. Let your eyes rest on something that's not a screen. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Breathe deeper than you have all day. Feel the sun, or the rain, or the wind. It's all alive. And so are you. A tired life isn't just about sleep deprivation. It's about disconnection. Walking is a way to reconnect with your body, with your breath, with the world around you. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to take the next step, literally, and the magic of walking. It gets your blood flowing, your mind clearing, your spirit lifting. You will come back from a walk with a better mood, better clarity, and a better ability to deal with whatever is waiting for you. It's simple. It's free. It's the most underrated therapy on the planet. Drink water first, coffee later. Look, coffee isn't the enemy, but if the first thing you pour into your body is caffeine, you're signaling to your system, let's run on stress. What your body really wants when you wake up is hydration. Water first thing in the morning is like fuel for your brain and engine oil for your organs. Your body spent the entire night detoxing, healing, repairing. It wakes up thirsty, and when you answer with water, you support everything, your focus, your digestion, your energy levels, even your skin. It's a tiny fix that changes how you function all day. And here's the kicker. When you're tired all the time, it's often not about sleep. It's about dehydration. Your brain is 75% water. You want to think clearer, feel less foggy. Drink water before your coffee, not instead of. Just before. This tiny decision sends a powerful message to yourself. I take care of me. And over time, that one habit builds into a lifestyle that says, I honor this body. I respect this life. That's how change happens. Write one sentence every night. You don't need to journal for an hour. You don't need a fancy notebook. But if you want to get your life out of the loop of tired, dull, directionless days, write one sentence. That's it. Every night before you sleep, reflect and record. What did I learn today? What felt good? What do I need more of? Your life isn't meaningless. You're just too busy to notice the meaning. Writing helps you see your own story, and once you see it, you can change it. You can edit it. You can choose it. Writing that one sentence will force you to slow down. It'll make you reflect. It'll make you present. You'll start noticing what makes you feel alive, what drains you, what patterns you repeat. This is how awareness begins, and awareness is what breaks cycles. You don't need a breakthrough. You need a moment of truth each day. One sentence, that's your mirror, and when you face your life with honesty, even in small ways, you begin to feel more awake inside it. Set a shutdown ritual. Your brain needs closure. Your nervous system craves predictability, but we treat bedtime like a crash landing. We scroll until we pass out. That's not rest. That's escape. And that's why we wake up tired, again and again. A shutdown ritual is a signal to your brain. We're done for today. You can relax now. It can be 5 minutes. No tech, no noise, just stillness. Maybe you stretch. Maybe you dim the lights. Maybe you breathe in silence. You decide. But make it sacred. This tiny habit rewires your brain to associate the end of the day with peace, not panic. You'll fall asleep faster. You'll sleep deeper. You'll wake up with more capacity to live the next day. You're not just resting your body. You're teaching your mind how to let go. Tired lives don't just need sleep. They need intentional pauses. And your night routine might be the most powerful fix you've never tried. Say no to one thing a day. Let's get real. You're not tired because you're doing too little. You're tired because you're doing too much of the wrong stuff. Too many obligations, too many yeses that should have been a no. Every time you agree to something you don't want, you're betraying yourself. So here's the fix. One no a day. That's it. Say no to one request, one invite, one distraction, one habit, one task that doesn't serve you. Say it out loud. Say it without apology. Say it like your energy depends on it. Because it does. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to feel guilty. Every no is actually a yes to something better. Your peace, your priorities, your purpose. You can't reclaim your life until you reclaim your boundaries. And this tiny habit is how you stop starting your day with your phone. You don't even realize it. But the very first decision you make in the morning is programming your entire day. And most people are sabotaging themselves without even knowing it. You wake up, you reach for your phone, and bam, you're in reaction mode. You've handed over your peace, your presence, your control to something outside yourself before your feet have even touched the floor. And I get it. That phone, it's addictive. It gives you a false sense of urgency. But let me be blunt. Every scroll, every notification, every email you check in bed, it's draining you. Not just your time, but your power. You think you're just checking in. But what you're really doing is checking out of your life before you've even checked into it. What you do in the first 10 minutes of your day trains your brain. That's the truth. You train it to be calm or to be chaotic. You train it to react or to lead. You train it to feel grounded or to feel like it's chasing 100 things all day long. So if the first thing you do is stare into a glowing rectangle of everyone else's opinions, drama, and filtered lives, how do you expect to feel centered? And no, I'm not asking you to throw your phone into the ocean. I'm asking you to make a powerful decision. I'm asking you to stop surrendering your life in the most crucial moment of the day, the beginning, because if you start with distraction, you live distracted. If you start with intention, you live with clarity. You get to choose how that begins. There is something almost sacred about the first few minutes when you wake up. Your brain is in a state called theta. It's impressionable, it's quiet, it's creative. It's not rushing yet, it's available, but if you fill it with memes, texts, world news, and highlight reels from other people's lives, you're robbing yourself of a chance to hear your own voice. Your tired life. Yeah, it has something to do with your sleep, but it has a whole lot more to do with your mental bandwidth. You're fried not just because of what you do during the day, but how you start the day, because that beginning sets a tone. It either grounds you or it scatters you, and you feel that all day long, whether you realize it or not. So what's the fix? You put the phone out of reach. You make a rule: no screens for the first 10 minutes. You replace it with something that centers you: your breath, your thoughts, your gratitude, your intentions, your coffee in silence. And yes, the first few days will feel weird. Your brain will scream for dopamine. But let it. You're retraining it. You'll start noticing things you haven't in a long time. Like how your body actually feels in the morning. Like how you're breathing. Like how the light falls in your room. Like the first thought that comes up when you're not drowning in digital noise. That's your real life. That's what you've been too distracted to notice. And don't give me the excuse that you need your phone for the alarm. Go buy a $5 alarm clock. I'm serious. If your mental health, your peace, your energy, and your productivity depend on the first 5 minutes of your day, and they do, then don't let convenience be the reason you stay stuck, because here's the deal. A tired life is not just about being busy. It's about being constantly interrupted, constantly pulled, constantly comparing, worrying, reacting, doubting, responding. And that all starts the second your thumb unlocks that screen in the morning. You're not exhausted because you're doing too much. You're exhausted because your energy is leaking out in a million different directions. And your phone is the biggest leak of them all. Plug it. Patch it. Give yourself a fighting chance to own your day before the world gets its hands on you. The most successful, most grounded, most self-aware people have a rule about mornings. They protect them. They guard them like their lives depend on it, because they do. You can't build a strong life on a foundation of chaos, and your phone is chaos in your pocket. Make it non-negotiable. The first 10 minutes are yours, not your boss's, not Instagram's, not the news cycles. Yours. You don't owe the world your attention before you've given yourself some of it first, and once you get used to this tiny fix, you'll feel it, the difference, the quiet, the power, the momentum. You'll walk into your day centered, not scattered, clear, not cluttered, focused, not frenzied, and that changes everything. Make your bed. Even when you don't feel like it, it sounds ridiculously simple. So simple that your brain probably just brushed it off like, that's not gonna change my life. But hear me out, because this tiny 2-minute act, it's not about the bed, it's about momentum, it's about discipline. It's about proving to yourself from the jump that you are someone who finishes what they start. When life feels heavy, when your schedule is chaos, when your goals feel out of reach, your brain starts whispering this lie: nothing I do matters. And making your bed is how you call BS on that voice, because every time you take a scattered space and turn it into something clean and complete, you're reminding yourself, I matter. This day matters. I still have control. And that's the thing, right? A tired life isn't just physical. It's emotional fatigue. It's the drag of living in a world that feels messy and never done. But this one habit, is your first little declaration of order. It's your first win, your first hit of clarity. It's how you plant your flag in the ground and say, I showed up today. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that it's a pattern interrupt. You're not just reacting. You're taking initiative, you're moving with intention, and that 2-minute habit begins to rewire your identity. You're no longer someone overwhelmed by the day. You're someone who starts strong, no matter how you feel, even when you're tired. Especially when you're tired, that's when it matters most, because when everything else feels out of control, your deadlines, your relationships, your future, you still get to control this. You get to straighten those sheets, fluff that pillow, and walk out of the room like a damn boss who finished something. And here's what most people don't realize. Your external environment is constantly speaking to your internal world. If you walk into a room that's messy and unfinished, it fuels the anxiety. It reinforces the chaos. But when you walk into a room and the bed is made, it whispers, you did something today. You cared. You respected your space. The beauty of this habit is that it trains something deeper, follow through, that muscle inside you that finishes what it starts, that shows up for the little things, that builds trust with yourself. Because if you can trust yourself to make a bed, you can trust yourself to make a call. You can trust yourself to finish the project. You can trust yourself to get back up after a setback. You know what tired people crave the most. Progress, not perfection, not applause, just the feeling that you're moving forward, that you're doing something right, and this one act, it's the spark, it's the tiny step that triggers the next one. It's how a chain reaction of momentum begins. And no, this is not about being neat for the sake of neatness. It's about honoring your space, honoring your energy, honoring the version of you that's trying so hard to stay afloat in a world that never stops pulling. It's about drawing a line in the sand that says, I take care of my life. I don't just survive it. And when you do this consistently, something subtle but powerful shifts. You start noticing other things. You put your laundry away. You stop leaving dishes in the sink. You handle that email you were avoiding. Why? Because your brain has started building a pattern. I do things that are good for me, even when I don't feel like it, and that's the real superpower here. You stop living by emotion, and you start living by decision. You stop waiting to feel like it, and you start acting because you said you would. And that kind of consistency, it's rare, it's gold, and it compounds over time. Let the bed be your training ground. Your disciplined gym, your morning dojo, let it be where you flex the muscle of showing up for no one else but you. You're not doing it to impress. You're not doing it for Instagram. You're doing it because you matter. Because how you do the small things sets the tone for how you'll do the big things. And when you come home at the end of a long, draining, stressful day, guess what you walk into? A space that's ready to hold you. A room that feels complete. A bed that says, you've got this. And that kind of quiet reinforcement is everything when you're running on empty. So don't underestimate the power of this tiny, simple, ordinary action. Because this is how you stop feeling powerless. This is how you rebuild your confidence. This is how you train your brain to believe that no matter how tired life gets, you've still got a handle on the things that matter, because momentum doesn't come from motivation. It comes from movement, and this tiny movement every morning, it changes everything. Go for a walk. Even if it's just for 10 minutes, you don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy gear. You don't need a perfect route or an accountability partner or to feel motivated. You just need your feet, your body, and the decision to move. That's it. And I know that sounds small, but it's not. It's huge, because when life feels heavy, when your mind is loud and your energy is low, movement is medicine. I'm not talking about walking for weight loss or to hit a step goal. I'm talking about walking because your nervous system is overloaded, because your thoughts are cycling, because your body is aching from sitting in tension all day, because you've been stuck in a loop of stress, and a walk is how you break it. There's something primal about it. Our ancestors walked to clear their heads, to process, to regulate their emotions, to survive, and you still have that wiring. But instead of using it, you sit on couches scrolling through chaos and wondering why your chest feels tight, and your brain won't stop racing. A 10-minute walk can change your chemistry. Literally, it shifts your blood flow, boosts oxygen, gets your brain out of that fog. It's the physical equivalent of opening a window in a stuffy room. Suddenly, there's air again, there's space. You don't even need to know where you're going. Just step outside and go. Don't wait until you have time. That's the lie that keeps you stuck. Make time, carve it out like your peace depends on it. Because it does. You'll never regret walking. You'll never finish and think that was a waste. You'll finish and think, why don't I do this more often? And you don't need to make it epic. You don't need to put on headphones, listen to a podcast, or call someone. In fact, I challenge you not to. Let it be quiet. Let it be just you and your thoughts and your feet on the ground. Let it be the one moment where no one's asking anything of you, and that's what walking really does. It gives you back to yourself, because in a world of noise, walking in silence becomes sacred. It's not about cardio, it's about clarity. It's not about distance, it's about direction. It's not about burning calories. It's about burning through the fog in your head so you can finally feel like you again. You don't need to feel good to walk. You need to walk to feel good. And I know that when you're tired, depleted, burned out, the last thing you want to do is move. But that's the exact moment you need to override the emotion with a decision. Because 10 minutes of motion creates hours of momentum. There's no right time to walk. Walk when you're stressed. Walk when you're angry. Walk when you're numb. Walk when your day feels like a failure. Walk after you cry. Walk before you make a hard decision, because what you're really doing is walking through it. Through the emotion, through the anxiety, through the static in your mind, and you don't even need to go far. Walk around your block. Walk in a circle. Walk in your backyard. Walk up and down your hallway if that's all you've got. This is not about scenery. It's about state. You're shifting your state. You're interrupting the spiral. You're getting back into your body, and you'll start noticing things you've been missing. The air, the light, the way the sky looks today, the sound of your breath, the quiet moments between thoughts. And that's when it hits you. You've been surviving on autopilot, and this simple walk, it's how you start waking up again. You'll come back more grounded, more present, less reactive, and you'll feel proud of yourself. Not because you did something massive, but because you did something. You didn't scroll. You didn't sit in paralysis. You moved, and that act of moving, no matter how small, starts rewiring you, because the secret to a better life isn't always about changing everything. Sometimes it's about changing one tiny thing and letting that build. One walk turns into a ritual turns into a habit, and that habit becomes your anchor. The thing that keeps you sane when life gets wild. So if you're exhausted, overwhelmed, disconnected, don't underestimate this. A short walk can be the start of a long transformation. It's simple, yes, but simple doesn't mean ineffective. Simple means sustainable, and sustainable is how you finally build a life that doesn't burn you out. You want clarity. Walk, you want calm. Walk, you want confidence. Walk, you want to reconnect with who you are under all the pressure and noise. Walk, 10 minutes, one step at a time. Forward, always drink water before coffee. You wake up tired, groggy, maybe even cranky. What's the first thing you reach for? That beautiful, steaming cup of coffee. Because you've convinced yourself that caffeine is the fix, that coffee is the fuel. But here's the truth that most people never want to hear. Your body isn't tired, it's dehydrated when you wake up. Your body has gone 7-8 hours without water. You're running on empty. Your cells are thirsty. Your brain is dried out. Your system is sluggish, not because you didn't sleep enough, but because you haven't replenished the one thing your body actually needs to function, water. And what do you do instead? You pour in a stimulant. You slam caffeine into a system that's already operating below baseline. And yeah, it wakes you up temporarily, but it's fake energy. It's borrowed strength. It comes with a crash. And it tricks your body into thinking it's functioning when it's actually screaming for hydration. This is one of the simplest, most overlooked, most underestimated habits that will completely transform how you feel every morning. And it's not hard, it's not expensive, it's not complicated. You just drink a tall glass of water before you drink your coffee. That's it. That's the whole fix. And it changes everything. You'll start noticing the difference in days. Your energy will stabilize, your brain fog will lift faster, your digestion improves, your skin changes, your mood evens out. Your coffee doesn't hit you like a slap in the face. It feels like an enhancement, not a replacement for basic fuel. And the best part, you're starting your day with a win, with a promise kept, with self-respect. You're saying, before I reach for stimulation, I'm going to give my body what it actually needs. That's a powerful mental reframe. You stop treating your body like a machine you have to force into performance, and you start treating it like a partner you fuel and take care of. This isn't about quitting coffee. This isn't about giving up pleasure. It's about prioritizing what matters. Water is foundational. Caffeine is optional. And when you get that order right, when you hydrate first, you begin to feel like someone who actually honors their body, not just tolerates it. You're probably walking around mildly dehydrated every single day and don't even know it. Tired, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe your brain is just trying to run on fumes. Maybe your focus is shot because your cells are gasping for water. Maybe the problem isn't your motivation. It's your hydration. So tomorrow morning, before you do anything, before the coffee, before the phone, before the rush, go to the kitchen and drink a full glass of water. Cold, room temperature, lemon, whatever works, and notice what happens, not just physically, but mentally. You feel different because you started your day by choosing yourself. You want to build momentum in your day. Stack wins. You want to feel in control. Build micro moments of discipline. You want energy that lasts. Give your body what it's actually asking for. One glass of water might not seem like a big deal, but it is. Because how you start is how you live, and here's what happens next. That one small act, it sets a tone. You start making slightly better choices. You eat with more intention. You move more. You listen to what your body is telling you instead of numbing it. You pay attention, all because you took 30 seconds to hydrate before you caffeinated. You've been running a marathon on empty for years and blaming it on laziness or stress or bad luck. But what if you just needed a system reset? A new signal, a new standard that says, I'm not going to neglect myself anymore. I'm going to show up for my body like it shows up for me, every single day without fail. And if you're still resisting this because it feels too easy or too silly, ask yourself, what are you so afraid of losing by taking care of yourself first? Why does it feel safer to stay tired and fried and dependent on caffeine than it does to reclaim your energy with something as basic as water? This is about respect, not rules. It's about alignment, not perfection. It's about giving your body what it actually needs, not what you've been conditioned to crave. And once you make this tiny shift, you'll realize how much of your fatigue, your fog, your frustration was preventable. So let your first drink of the day be water, not out of guilt, not because you should, but because you deserve to feel good. You deserve to function at your best, and it starts with this tiny decision. Hydrate first, then caffeinate, because if you're tired of being tired, you don't need another energy drink. You need to start choosing yourself first thing. Every day create a 3-minute morning ritual. Don't roll your eyes. This isn't about perfection. This isn't about waking up at 5 a.m. or becoming some highly optimized morning robot. This is about claiming just 3 minutes, that's it, before the world comes knocking. 3 minutes that are yours. 3 minutes that say, I'm in control of how this day starts. Because for most people, the second they wake up, they're already reacting. Reacting to alarms, to notifications, to other people's demands. They go from dream state to chaos without even a breath in between. And that's why life feels so fast. That's why you always feel behind. You've been giving your mornings away before you've even touched your power. So here's the fix. A simple ritual. 3 minutes, not 30, not 10, just 3. Something small, quiet, intentional. Something that brings you back to you. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Maybe you breathe. Maybe you journal. Maybe you stretch. Maybe you say one sentence to yourself that grounds you, like I lead my day. I don't follow it. Maybe you stand in the sunlight and just exist without the weight of the world in your hands for once. And I know what you're thinking. 3 minutes won't change my life. But it will, because this isn't about time. It's about intention. You're shifting the energy. You're interrupting the pattern. You're starting the day with yourself, not against yourself. And that tiny act creates a ripple effect that impacts everything else. Think of it like planting a flag. Like saying to the universe, I'm not going to be a passenger today, I'm going to drive. Because how you start your day is how you tend to carry it. If you begin rushed, reactive, checked out, scattered, guess what shows up the rest of the day? More of the same. But if you begin with even 3 minutes of awareness, you remind yourself you exist, you matter, your needs, your breath, your thoughts, your goals, they get to be honored first, before the news, before the texts, before the to-do list, before the chaos. This ritual becomes your anchor. It becomes the one consistent thing in a life full of inconsistency, and that builds trust, that builds self-leadership. That builds resilience, because you're not waiting for calm to find you. You're creating it on purpose, and the more tired you are, the more chaotic your life feels, the more you need this. This isn't for people who have time. This is for people who don't. This is for people who have kids and jobs and bills and noise in their heads. This is for people who feel like they're always one step behind. This is your way of reclaiming something that's been stolen from you. Presence. You don't even need to do the same thing every day. The power isn't in the routine, it's in the returning to yourself. Returning to the now, returning to the truth that you are a human being, not just a task machine. Returning to your breath, your body, your voice, before the outside world tries to drown it out. And if 3 minutes feels hard, good, do it anyway, especially then, because the discomfort you feel is just the resistance of a life lived too long in reaction mode. The resistance is your cue that this matters, that this little window of time might be the only peace you get all day, and it's worth fighting for. What happens next is subtle, but powerful. You make better decisions, you stop rushing, you stop snapping, you stop spiraling at the first sign of stress. You feel anchored even when things get messy. You're not perfect, but you're present. And presence beats perfection every time. This is not a morning routine to impress people. This is not a productivity hack. This is your survival strategy. This is how you stop living on autopilot. This is how you stop handing over your energy to people, apps, and systems that don't care if you burn out. This is how you take it back and don't wait until you feel ready. Start tomorrow. Wake up, sit up, and pause. Give yourself that tiny window, even if it's just sitting in silence, even if it's sipping water with your eyes closed, even if it's just whispering, I choose peace today. That's your ritual, that's your signal, that's your power, because when you start the day with yourself, you carry yourself differently. You don't just respond, you lead. You don't just hope for calm, you create it. And that kind of grounded presence that changes everything. End the day with a shutdown habit. You don't just need a morning ritual, you need a shutdown habit too. Because right now, most people aren't ending their day, they're collapsing into it, falling asleep with phones in their hands, minds racing, tension trapped in their bodies, and zero sense of closure. And then they wonder why they wake up tired, anxious, and behind. Let's be honest. You can't carry your whole day into your sleep and expect rest. You can't scroll until your eyes burn and expect peace. You can't ignore your emotions all day and expect your body to magically let them go at night. That's not how it works. That's why so many people are exhausted. Even after 8 hours of sleep, a shutdown habit isn't about perfection. It's not about bubble baths or expensive routines. It's about ritualizing closure. It's about telling your nervous system, we're safe now. It's okay to let go. The day is done. It's a signal, a deliberate act that marks the end. This could be as simple as dimming the lights, putting your phone on airplane mode, writing down one sentence about your day, stretching, saying I did enough today, out loud, brushing your teeth while listening to calm music. It's not the what that matters, it's the message. We're transitioning now, because your brain needs boundaries. Your body needs a line between doing and being. And when you don't give yourself that, everything bleeds together. Your stress follows you into your dreams. Your cortisol stays high. Your subconscious starts problem solving all night because you never told it to stand down. You don't need 30 minutes. You don't need candles. You need intention. You need to take 2-5 minutes and reclaim the end of your day. That's it. That's the whole fix. And when you do it consistently, your sleep deepens, your thoughts settle, you stop waking up with clenched jaws and tight shoulders. A shutdown habit is self-respect. It's a line in the sand that says, I matter enough to close my day, not just survive it. And when you treat yourself with that kind of reverence, everything shifts, because you stop living in an endless loop. You start living in rhythm, the most powerful part. You stop needing the whole world to slow down before you feel peace. You learn how to give that to yourself. You stop relying on exhaustion to force rest. You start choosing rest on purpose. That's a different energy. That's self-leadership, and it doesn't have to be quiet. Your shutdown habit could be dancing to one song in your kitchen with the lights low. It could be a funny video that makes you laugh before bed. It could be a warm drink, a prayer, a journal entry, or 10 deep breaths with your hand on your heart. It doesn't need rules. It needs meaning. The key is consistency. Make it yours, own it, repeat it, and over time it becomes your anchor. It becomes the one thing that tells your mind and body, you did your best, now it's time to let go. That shift, mental, emotional, physical, is the gateway to better mornings, clearer thoughts, and stronger resilience. Think about how kids get bedtime routines. We dim the lights, read the stories, calm their energy. Why? Because it works, because humans need transitions, but somehow as adults, we think we can skip all that and just pass out at the end of a chaotic day. And we wonder why we wake up already behind. You are not a machine. You are not a to-do list with legs. You are a human being, and human beings need space to unwind. That shutdown habit is how you say, I'm not dragging today's stress into tomorrow's peace. That's how you build a boundary with your own burnout. It's how you stop living in survival mode. Because you stop ending your days with chaos, you start ending them with care, and that care, even if it's just for 5 quiet minutes, tells your body, you're safe now. That's the moment you start to recover. That's the moment you start to heal. So tonight, when the day is done, don't just scroll yourself to sleep. Don't just shut your eyes and hope for the best. Take one small act. Send yourself one strong message. I'm done for today. You'll wake up a different person, not just rested, but restored, one thing at a time. Don't multitask. Let's get this straight. Multitasking is a lie. It's a productivity scam that we've glamorized. You think you're being efficient when you do 5 things at once, but what you're actually doing is training your brain to stay overwhelmed, distracted, and burned out. You answer emails while eating. You scroll social media while watching TV. You listen to a podcast while folding laundry and texting someone back. You never give one thing your full energy, and you wonder why you feel scattered, behind, and mentally exhausted all the time. Your brain is not wired to split attention across tasks. Every time you jump from one thing to another, your brain pays a tax. It has to refocus, reorient, reset. And that costs you more time, more energy, and more clarity than you even realize. Multitasking doesn't make you efficient. It makes you anxious. It trains your nervous system to stay in a state of agitation. You stop feeling present. You forget things. You make more mistakes. You confuse motion with progress. And you constantly feel like nothing ever gets finished. You don't need to do more things faster. You need to do fewer things better. Focus is a superpower now. In a world full of noise, the ability to give one thing your undivided attention isn't just rare, it's revolutionary. It's how you get your life back when you choose one task, just one, and commit to finishing it before moving on. Everything shifts, your energy lines up, your thoughts sharpen, your stress decreases, and your confidence rises. Why? Because completion builds momentum. One finished task is more powerful than 10 half-done distractions. Try it. Pick one thing. Set a timer for 10 or 20 minutes. No phone, no background noise, no flipping between apps or tabs. Just the one thing in front of you, and notice what happens. You feel calmer, more in control, less frazzled. You breathe differently. You're not meant to be constantly fragmented. You're meant to be present. And presence doesn't mean slowing down. It means lining up all your energy in one direction. That's how you move faster, smarter, and more powerfully. The truth is, most of your stress doesn't come from the tasks themselves. It comes from the mental clutter of having too many open tabs. Literally and mentally, you're never fully here. You're always halfway there, halfway gone, halfway thinking of what's next. That's why you're tired. Closing those loops, one by one, isn't just productivity. It's peace. It's reclaiming your mind. It's giving your nervous system a chance to settle. It's retraining your brain to trust you again, to believe that when you say, "I'll get it done," you will. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just distracted, and it's not your fault. The world is built to hijack your attention, but you don't have to play along. You can choose to slow the scroll, close the tabs, silence the notifications, and give now your full attention. And when you do, here's what happens. You get better at everything: work, conversations, problem solving, rest, even play. Why? Because you're there fully, and that energy is magnetic. People feel it, you feel it, and it changes the way you walk through your day. So if you want to feel better, think clearer and actually finish what you start. Stop multitasking. Choose one thing, crush it, then move to the next. You'll get more done with less stress and more pride. And slowly but surely, that tired life starts to feel lighter, simpler, and better. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do one thing at a time. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And in a noisy world, that's how you take your power back. One focused breath, one clear decision, one finished task at a time. Here's the truth. Your life doesn't need a total overhaul. It needs tiny wins stacked daily, done on purpose. You don't need to wait for a vacation, a raise, a new year, or a breakdown to finally feel better. You need small, practical, powerful shifts that move you forward. Not in theory, but in real time. You just walked through 7 habits. Not massive overhauls, not impossible routines, but simple actions. Wake up and make your bed. It tells your brain you're in control. Get outside and move. You reconnect with your body and the real world. Take digital breaks. You come back to yourself, fuel your body. You show up with energy that belongs to you. Start with a 3-minute morning ritual. You anchor yourself. End the day with a shutdown habit. You close the loop. Do one thing at a time. You build trust and peace, moment by moment. None of this is complicated, but it's necessary. And what's wild is that when you start doing these tiny things, life starts to feel manageable again. Your head clears, your energy returns, your anxiety doesn't own you. You don't dread your days. You actually begin to enjoy them because you're not here to survive your own life. You're not here to drag yourself through every week until the next break. You're here to live, awake, intentional, strong, focused, and grounded in who you are. And that starts with the small stuff. That starts with how you show up today, not someday. These habits aren't just tools. They're invitations to stop waiting, to stop numbing, to stop drifting, and to start showing up for yourself, not just when life's on fire, but every single day, in tiny ways, quiet ways, powerful ways. Because your tired life doesn't need a miracle. It needs you, fully present, fiercely committed, and finally awake to how powerful these small habits really are. Start small, stay consistent, and watch everything change from the inside out. You don't need to feel ready. You need to feel willing, willing to try, willing to choose again, willing to do the boring things that build the beautiful life. This is how tired turns into strong. This is how stuck becomes clear. This is how better begins right here, right now, with you, with one tiny fix at a time.